Welcome to this explainer. Let me start with a quick, honestly, kind of embarrassing confessional. For, I don't know, about a year, every time someone threw around the term coast fire, I would just nod along, like, oh yeah, totally get it. But the truth? I had absolutely no idea what the actual number was, or how to even find it. I was 100% faking it, and if we're being really honest here, maybe you've been nodding along too. But here's the thing, when you finally look under the hood of this financial jargon, you might just discover an escape hatch you didn't even know was there.
So, what does coast fire actually mean? To figure this out, we're going to look at a case study. Let's look at Rachel. Rachel's 44. She lives down in South Florida, making $73,000 a year at her day job. And what's super relatable about her story is this intense late starter anxiety. She opened her very first real investment account just 18 months ago. She felt miles behind. Okay, so let's dive into this and clear up the confusion right now.
Here is, hands down, the absolute best definition of coast fire. It is the specific dollar amount that if you never contributed another penny, literally zero, to your investments, it would still grow into your full final retirement number by your retirement date. Now, let me be super clear. This isn't enough money to live on right now. You can't just quit your job today. But it is the exact mathematical tipping point where compounding takes over and finishes the job for you. Basically, once you hit this number, every future dollar you save, completely optional. You just have to cover your current bills for today. Which brings us to section 1, the brutal first calculation. And I say brutal because, well, when you first run these numbers, it can be downright terrifying. Now, the math here is basically middle school level. The formula requires just 3 simple inputs to find your present value, which really just means the amount you need today. You just need your future target, your expected return rate, and the years you have left until retirement. That's it. Target, return, and years. Easy enough, right? So Rachel sits down and plugs in her initial inputs. And these are based on what we might call a round number fantasy. Like a lot of folks, she just assumed she needed this massive $1.75 million target to support $70,000 a year in retirement by age 66. Since she's 44, that gives her exactly 22 years, and she conservatively modeled a 7% return rate. So she plugs in those initial fantasy inputs. And boom, a visceral shock. To even start coasting right now, this formula told Rachel she needed almost $395,000 already sitting in her accounts, just to begin the coasting phase. I mean, yike. These numbers perfectly illustrate the agitation that so many late starters feel. I mean, think about it. Rachel needed almost $395,000. What did she actually have invested? Just $29,400. She was only about 7% of the way to her required target. And to make matters worse, she's still carrying $35,800 in student loan debt, which she's desperately shoveling $1,800 a month toward. Staring at this math, man, you can totally see why someone would just want to slam their laptop shut and give up. But hold on a second. Stop looking at that discouraging gap and ask yourself this vital question. Where did your retirement number actually come from? Seriously, think about it right now. Is your target based on real projected expenses that you actually sat down and calculated? Or is it just a nice big round number you heard parroted on a podcast or read on some blog? For Rachel, it was just a total guess. Let's move to section 2, auditing your assumptions. Because here's the secret. We don't just have to stress about our savings rate. We can actually go in and fix the inputs of the formula itself. Let's break down what Rachel actually spends based on measured, documented reality. Right now, her base living expenses are $39,300 a year, but she knows that when she eventually steps away from her primary career, she'll have to buy her own health insurance on the marketplace, which she budgets at $9,600. Then she adds a travel and buffer fund of $3,100. You add those all up, and her actual retirement need isn't $70,000, it's $50,000 a year. And the second massive correction to her assumptions was her lifestyle expectation. Rachel isn't planning to go from 60 hours a week of grinding to absolutely zero overnight. That's a fantasy full fire approach. Instead, she plans to transition to what's known as Barista FIRE. Basically, she's going to work a light, low-stress part-time job that pays around $20,000 a year. That drastically reduces the burden on her investment portfolio. Okay, so let's redo the math. Her life costs $52,000 a year. Her part-time job will cover $20,000 of that. That means her investment portfolio only needs to generate $32,000 a year. Using the standard 4% withdrawal rule, she doesn't need $1.75 million. Nope.
Her real audited target collapses all the way down to just $800,000. That is a total game changer. And here is a brilliant piece of strategy. You should absolutely pull your Social Security statement today. Rachel did, and she found out she's projected to receive about $25,176 a year at full retirement age. But notice this, she intentionally left that out of her model entirely. By ignoring it in her math, that 25 grand a year becomes pure margin of safety. If it's there, awesome, but she isn't relying on it to make the Coast Fire math work. Section 3, the Coast date revealed. Now we get to take these new, highly accurate numbers and project them forward. Mapping out Rachel's short-term progression reveals a really exciting path. Right now, she's investing $1,415 a month while aggressively paying down her student loans. Fast forward to March 2028, those student loans officially die. She's debt-free. By the time she turns 46, her investment portfolio, growing steadily, will hit about $75,575. But then April 2028 arrives, and she takes that $1,800 a month she was paying toward debt and redeploys it straight into her investments. Starting in April 2028, she builds this beautiful monthly savings stack. She's investing the $1,800 from her old debt payments, $625 into a Roth IRA, $547 into her 401k, and capturing a $243 employer match. That is a massive $3,215 a month hitting her accounts. That translates to over $38,000 a year, which is a 37.7% savings rate, unlocked simply because she cleared her debt. Watching the conversions year by year is just fascinating. Her actual portfolio balance skyrockets because of that aggressive savings rate, while her required Coast target steadily rises. It rises because every year that passes means she has less time for compounding to do its work before age 66. So at 47, there's a $100,000 gap. But by 49, that gap shrinks to barely over $30,000. And then the magic moment happens. At exactly 49 years and 11 months old, the rapidly growing portfolio finally crosses paths with the required target. Her actual investments hit $272,606, zooming right past the target requirement of $269,464. Which brings us to Section 4, a new finish line. We have officially established a brand new, incredibly achievable finish line based on her actual life. Rounding that number up just a bit for safety, Rachel's Coast target is $274,000 by her 50th birthday. If she hits that and never contributes another dime to her investments, just letting it sit there for 16 years, compounding modeling shows it will grow to over $809,000 by age 66, comfortably beating her goal. Finding this smaller, much more realistic door means her retirement funding is entirely finished at age 50, not at age 76. Everything she earns after 50 is purely for the life right in front of her. I absolutely love this quote from the source material. Being behind is a starting position, not a verdict. Rachel started late at 43 with just $13,000 to her name. But she proved that running your own math and adjusting your assumptions can entirely rewrite your future. You are not doomed to work in a cubicle forever, just because you started a little late. Which leaves us with one final, incredibly important thought. Imagine if you hit your Coast Fire number tomorrow. Your future retirement is fully funded, safely locked away, and growing on autopilot. You only need to work to cover today's bills. What real job would you take? Like Rachel, who plans to drop her stressful gig to get her weekends back, how would your life change? I hope this explainer has given you the tools to run your own numbers and find your escape hatch. Keep learning, keep auditing those assumptions, and go find your finish line.